Thank you for coming. I want to thank Alice Mong and the committee co-chairs for helping to organize this afternoon's sessions, and to thank C-100 member John C., who has generously underwritten this panel. I am deeply concerned about the environment and with global warming. In my work, both art and architecture, I have focused on the environment and sustainable and energy efficient design solutions. But what you might not know is that for the past 15 years, I've also devoted a part of my time to environmental issues in another capacity. I first served on the Energy Foundation's board, and I currently sit on the Natural Resources Defense Council, two groups who are here with us today and who have been working in China on environmental issues for over 10 years. I want to thank them, along with the other panelists, for being here today and for giving me the facts I'm using today. I have watched as the U.S., the leader in global warming emissions, has made it a point to not sign the Kyoto Protocol, placing a mandatory cap on greenhouse gas emissions, because it did not include developing countries like China and India. And I have kept note, as the New York Times headline, China says rich countries should take the lead on global warming, with China refusing to say whether it would agree to any mandatory emission limits that might hamper its booming economy. When the reports came out last year that China will surpass the U.S. and become the global leader in greenhouse gas emissions by 2007, I realized the last thing we can, as a world, afford to have happen is for these two leaders in emissions to stand around pointing fingers at each other. America, who at 5% of the population is responsible for over 30% of greenhouse gas emissions, we have the largest per capita carbon footprint of anyone on this planet. We must address our energy-intensive lifestyle if we are to expect other countries to also be more energy conscious. And in China, every 4 days a new coal plant is put online in China, and it is neither clean nor efficient, wasting 2/3 of the coal it burns. China is home to 16 of the 20 most air-polluted cities in the world. China is responsible for 50% of all new worldwide construction. It built the equivalent of 1/3 of the U.S. building stock in only 1 year. And pollution does not stop at political borders. 1/3 of polluting fine particulates in the smog of U.S. West Coast cities originates in China. 40% of all mercury found in our soils, lakes, and rivers originates in China. As a C-100 member and an extremely concerned environmentalist, I wondered if there was something I could do as a Chinese American and as a C-100 member to help address these pressing environmental issues. Could C-100 start a dialogue between business leaders and environmental groups working in China, asking them to share what they are currently working on, to invite them to discuss the pressing environmental problems and to discuss realizable solutions? I think you're going to hear from the panelists today what is being done, a lot of it very exciting about energy efficiency and changes. One thing that we are not covering today, you're going to hear today from two separate panels. The first panel focuses on China and energy, giving us insight into issues at hand and what is being done in both traditional and alternative energy sectors. The second panel, China Going Green, will focus on sustainable practices in industry, transportation, and building design. What is being done to improve energy efficiency and create sustainable design models throughout China? Between the two sessions, we have C-100 member Bob G., who will give remarks linking the two panels and make a surprise announcement, and C-100 member John C., who will talk about the critical issues concerning water and resource management. The subject of habitat conservation and protection is not directly part of these panel discussions, but I want to say that it is intricately connected to any discussion we are having about China and the environment. And to that end, as you leave, there's a table full of information of different groups working in China, and there's also a written document courtesy of NRDC, which gives a synopsis of NGOs, institutions, banks, all concerned with environmental causes in China, as well as a sign-up sheet. So if you're at all interested, please feel free, sign up for your interest. And again, thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoy the session. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Jim Rogers, our moderator for the first session.